Right now, take a moment and notice what your inner world feels like. Not what you're doing on the outside, not what you're managing or fixing or performing, but what it feels like inside your chest, behind your eyes, in the soft places you don't always have time to listen to. There's a familiar tug many of us carry, the one that whispers, "Here we go again." The same loop, the same reaction, the same story. Hear this with tenderness. That tug is not who you are. It's not your identity. It's simply a pattern, and patterns can change. You may have called it your personality. I'm just like this. This is just how I am. But so often what we call me is something we learned, something we practiced for years without realizing we were practicing it, something that once protected you, once helped you fit in, once helped you survive a moment, a relationship, a season of your life. So let's look at your limiting patterns in a new way, not as proof that you're broken, not as a flaw you need to punish, but as a well-worn path through a forest, familiar, easy to step into, taken so many times that your feet start going there automatically. And I'm going to give you something right away, something simple, real, and practical for the next time the old loop rises. You don't need to wait until you feel ready. You're allowed to begin gently. When you notice the familiar urge to people please, to shrink, to overthink, to procrastinate, to overgive, place one hand on your chest. Let your palm rest there like a warm promise. Soften your belly just a little, as if you're untying a knot you've been holding all day. Then take one slow breath in through your nose and let it out like a sigh you don't have to apologize for. As you breathe out, say quietly, "I am safe enough to choose again." Not everything is perfect, not nothing can hurt me, just this. Safe enough to choose again, because power isn't about controlling life. Power is about having a moment where you can respond, not just react. If you don't feel calm right away, that's okay. You're allowed to take your time. The point isn't to force peace. The point is to create a little space, maybe the space of one breath, where a new choice becomes possible. Now let's talk about why these patterns are so persistent, so you can stop turning them into a personal failure. Somewhere along the way, your mind made an agreement, quietly, innocently. The kind of agreement a child makes when they're trying to understand how love works, how safety works, how approval is earned. It might have sounded like, "If I'm easy, I'll be loved," or "If I'm perfect, I won't be rejected," or "If I stay small, I won't be noticed, and I won't be hurt," or "If I take care of everyone else, I'll finally matter," or "If I don't try, I can't fail." These aren't logical decisions. They're emotional contracts. They get stored not only in your thoughts, but in your body, in your breath, in your shoulders, in the way your stomach tightens when someone's tone changes. And the truth is, they made sense then. You did the best you could with what you knew, with what you had, with what you were surrounded by. There is nothing to be ashamed of here. but you are not living in that same moment anymore. You're allowed to update those agreements. Maybe you recognize this. Your phone lights up with a message, and before you even read it fully, your body tightens. Your mind runs ahead. What do they want? Did I do something wrong? How fast should I answer? You might have called it overthinking, but what's really happening is an old alarm system turning on. This is a sign that your sensitivity learned to scan for danger where there may only be uncertainty. Or maybe it happens at work. Someone offers feedback, and even if it's kind, you feel that rush of embarrassment. You smile, you nod, you promise to fix it, and inside you're rewriting your worth. You might have thought you were too sensitive, but what's really happening is that a younger part of you learned that mistakes equal rejection. Or perhaps it's in love. You notice yourself becoming the one who always adapts, always smooths things over, always tries harder. You make yourself smaller to keep the peace. You might have thought you were just caring. But what's really happening is an old belief that love is something you earn by disappearing. If any of this feels familiar, soften toward yourself. You're not alone. And the fact that you can recognize it means something beautiful. You're already waking up inside your own life. Here's the shift. A pattern is not a verdict. It's a program. And programs can be rewritten. The moment you catch the pattern, you get your power back. Not because you suddenly become perfect, not because you never feel triggered again, but because awareness opens a doorway. Think of it like driving a road you know well. You can arrive and barely remember the turns. Patterns do that. They take the steering wheel. But the instant you notice, oh, I'm on that road again, you're back in the driver's seat. And you don't have to yank the wheel. You don't have to shame yourself for taking the familiar route. You can simply say, I see you, then gently choose a different turn. This is where people often try to change through force. They try to shame themselves into improvement. They hold their healing like a deadline. But your inner world doesn't soften under pressure. It softens under safety. So instead of fighting the part of you that panics or freezes or pleases or overthinks, meet it like you would meet a scared child. Imagine that part of you tugging on your sleeve, not to sabotage you, but to protect you in the only way it learned. And you can say, I know you're trying to help. I know you learned this a long time ago, and I'm here now. That's not weakness. That's strength with a gentle face. Now, let's make this practical in a way you can use in real moments. When the pattern shows up, ask yourself one question. What am I afraid would happen if I didn't do this? If you feel the urge to say yes, ask, what am I afraid would happen if I said no? If you feel the urge to hide, ask, what am I afraid would happen if I was seen? If you feel the urge to procrastinate, ask, what am I afraid would happen if I tried fully? If you feel the urge to control, ask, what am I afraid would happen if I trusted? You don't have to answer perfectly. You're simply listening, because behind the pattern, there's usually a fear, and behind the fear, there's usually a longing to be loved without performing, a longing to rest without guilt, a longing to feel steady, a longing to belong, a longing to feel chosen by others and by yourself. And you are worthy of that longing. You're not too much for wanting what you want. Your desires are not random. They're messages about what matters. Now let's talk about power in a way that feels safe and true. Power is not force. Power is not hardness. Power is not proving. Your real power is your inner authority, the ability to stay connected to yourself even when life pulls on you. Sometimes that looks like a boundary. A boundary is not a wall. It's a clear edge, like the banks of a river that help the water flow. A boundary can be, let me get back to you. A boundary can be, I can't do that today. A boundary can be, that doesn't work for me. A boundary can even be, I need a moment, when your heart is racing and your mind is scrambling. And if your body trembles when you set a boundary, that doesn't mean you did something wrong. It means you're doing something new. You're stepping off the old path and into fresh grass. You might know this moment. You're in a conversation and someone makes a comment that stings. In the past, you might have laughed politely, changed the subject, swallowed the feeling. Later, alone, you replay it and wish you'd spoken. You might have thought you were being mature or keeping the peace. But what's really happening is that your system learned that conflict equals danger. This is a sign that your voice has been waiting for permission. Power doesn't require drama. It can be one calm sentence. I don't like that. Or, please don't speak to me that way. Or, I'm going to pause this conversation. Even if your voice shakes, even if you say it softly, the softness doesn't cancel the truth. The softness can carry the truth beautifully. And if you can't do it in the moment yet, that's okay. You can practice after the fact. You can send a message later. You can say, I've been thinking about what happened, and I want to be clear about what I need. You're allowed to return to yourself even after you've left. Your mind might whisper, this is selfish. But selfishness is taking from others to feed yourself. A boundary is refusing to take from yourself to feed others. There's a difference, a loving difference. Now, because your subconscious learns through repetition and emotion, it helps to replace old agreements with new ones, not as a performance, but as a practice. Maybe an old agreement in you says, I have to be perfect to be loved. And you can offer something new. I am lovable as I am, and I grow because I love myself. Maybe an old agreement says, if I say no, I'll be rejected. And you can soften it into, my no protects my yes, and the right people respect both. Maybe an old agreement says, it's safer to stay small. And you can choose, it is safe for me to be seen in ways that honor me. Maybe an old agreement says, I must carry it all alone. And you can breathe in, I allow support, and I let life meet me. Notice which one makes you exhale. That one is for you. And you don't have to believe it instantly. You're allowed to practice it like a new language. The first time you speak it, it may feel awkward. Then slowly, it begins to feel like home. Here's another moment you might recognize. You have an idea, something you want to create, share, start. For a moment you feel alive, then the next day, you can't move. You scroll, you tidy, you do anything except the thing. You might have thought you were lazy, but what's really happening is that your system associates visibility with risk. This is a sign that you're standing at the edge of expansion. So in that moment, instead of bullying yourself, try this. Hand on heart, soften the belly, one breath. I am safe enough to choose again. Then ask, what is the smallest honest step I can take? Not the whole mountain, just one stone. Write one paragraph, open the document, put on the shoes. One step teaches your system, we can do this. And here's something important. Patterns often get louder right before they loosen. When you begin to change, the old programming may pull harder because familiarity has been mistaken for safety. You might feel temptation to go numb. You might feel the urge to over-explain. You might hear the inner voice say, "Who do you think you are?" When that happens, return to the simple anchor, I am safe enough to choose again. Then ask, what would the most self-respecting version of me do right now? Self-respecting doesn't mean fearless. It means present. She might still feel nervous, but she speaks one honest sentence. She might still feel guilty, but she rests anyway. She might still feel shaky, but she says, "No, thank you," anyway. Every time you choose yourself in a small moment, you lay down a new path in the forest. You teach your body and mind, this is allowed. And when you don't choose yourself, when you slip into the old pattern, your power is still there. Your power returns the moment you notice and come back. You can always come back. Let me offer you a small, in-the-moment sequence you can keep in your pocket. First, name it. This is an old pattern. Second, connect. Feel your feet, hand on heart. Third, breathe. One slow in, one slow out. Fourth, reassure. I am safe enough to choose again. Fifth, choose one tiny action that honors you. Tiny actions change lives because they change identity. Every time you choose yourself, you become someone who chooses herself. Now I want to speak gently to the part of you that feels tired of trying. The part that says, I've done so much work. Why is this still here? Sometimes we meet the same lesson again, not because we failed, but because we're ready to meet it with more love. A pattern may look similar on the surface, but you are different. You notice sooner. You recover faster. You choose differently more often. That counts. That is real change. And it's okay if your progress is subtle. Seeds under the soil are subtle too, and yet they are becoming. Your subconscious is like a garden. Whatever has been planted there, beliefs, repeated emotions, will grow. If fear was planted, fear grew. Not because you're bad, because that's what was watered. And you can plant something new. Plant it with words you can actually live with. Choose a few phrases that feel like sunlight and repeat them when you're calm, not only when you're triggered. Let your system learn them in safety, the way a body learns a new rhythm through gentle repetition. You can borrow these. I am worthy of love and respect. I trust myself to handle what comes. I release what no longer serves me. I don't have to rush. I don't have to prove. I honor my feelings and my needs. I am allowed to take up space. I can be kind without abandoning myself. Say the one that feels most true for you, even if it's only a whisper of truth right now. A whisper is enough to begin. Now there's another layer to power that many people forget. Your energy follows your attention. When your attention is scattered, pulled into everyone's needs, everyone's moods, every possible future outcome, your energy can feel thin, like you're pouring yourself into too many cups. So try this simple intention once a day. I return to myself. Say it quietly. I return to myself. Imagine your energy like soft light scattered across your day. Messages, responsibilities, old memories, future worries. And now imagine that light gently floating back to your heart, like birds returning to their nest at sunset, not rushed, not forced, just returned. And there's one more pattern I want to speak to with so much kindness, because it exhausts good hearts: overgiving. Perhaps you've experienced this. Someone you care about is struggling, and before they even finish their sentence, you're already carrying their emotion in your own body. You offer solutions, you offer time, you offer your energy, and you tell yourself it's love. Then later you feel empty, resentful, or quietly angry with yourself. You might have thought, I shouldn't feel this way. I'm a good person. But what's really happening is that your compassion has been paired with an old belief that you must sacrifice yourself to be loved or valued. Love does not require self-erasure. Caring does not require collapse. So the next time you feel that automatic reach outward, try a new moment. Pause, hand on heart, one breath, and ask, what is mine to carry and what is not mine to carry? Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is stay in your own body while you listen. Sometimes support looks like presence, not rescue. Sometimes it looks like saying, I'm here with you, without promising to fix it all. And here's a gentle image to hold. Think of a candle. A candle can light the room, but it doesn't pour all its wax into everyone else's hands. It stays rooted, steady, bright. You can be a steady light without burning yourself down. And if your mind protests, if it says, but then I'll be rejected, gently remind it, the right relationships don't require me to abandon myself. Let that sentence land slowly. like warm tea. Wholeness is powerful, and you are allowed to protect your own flame with love always. Now here's another scene that can be surprisingly meaningful. You're about to do something good for you. Rest, ask for help, say no, stop over-explaining, and guilt rises like a heavy blanket. You might have believed guilt means you're wrong, but often guilt appears when you stop doing what you were trained to do. It can be a sign that you're stepping out of an old role. So when guilt appears, ask, is this guilt guiding me or conditioning me? Guiding guilt asks you to repair harm. Conditioning guilt tries to pull you back into self-abandonment. If it's conditioning, let it be there without letting it steer. Breathe with it, hand on heart. I am safe enough to choose again. And if you're in a moment where you can't access choice, if you reacted before you could pause, give yourself aftercare instead of punishment. Come back to your body. Breathe. Offer the kind sentence you needed in the first place. That was an old program I'm learning. Then choose one repairing action, an apology if needed, a boundary if needed, a rest if needed. Repair is power too. This is how you break free, not in one grand moment, but in many small returns to yourself. And embracing your power means letting yourself feel your feelings without drowning in them. Emotions are meant to move. You're allowed to feel disappointed. You're allowed to feel angry. You're allowed to feel tender. None of these feelings reduce your worth. Power isn't pretending nothing hurts. Power is honoring what hurts and still choosing the next kind step. So if you've been fine on the outside while collapsing on the inside, I invite you into something truer. Not fine, but honest. Not perfect, but present. And now let's gather this into your body, into something you can carry. Place your hand on your chest again if you'd like. Feel the steady beat underneath your palm. That beat has been with you through everything. It hasn't given up on you. And you don't need to give up on you. Take a slow breath in, and as you breathe out, release the belief that you have to fight yourself to change. Take another breath in, and as you breathe out, release the idea that your past gets to decide your future. Take another breath in, and as you breathe out, let a new agreement land softly. I choose myself with love. Imagine a gentle light in the center of your chest. It doesn't have to be bright. It can be soft, like morning sunlight on a wall. With each breath, let it spread through you, into your shoulders, your throat, your belly, your hands. This light is your power, not power over anyone, power within you, the power to pause, the power to listen, the power to choose again. And I want you to hear these truths slowly, like they're being placed into your hands. You are not your limiting patterns. You are the one who can witness them. And what you can witness, you can change. You are allowed to outgrow who you had to be. You are allowed to rewrite the agreements you made in fear. You are allowed to live with more ease. You don't have to do this all at once. You don't have to prove anything to deserve your healing. You are worthy now. In the coming days, watch for subtle shifts, tiny openings where you pause before reacting, moments where you speak one honest sentence, moments where you rest without explaining. Let those moments matter. Let them be evidence that you are changing. And if you'd like to return to this kind of gentle support again, you're welcome to come back whenever you need it. You don't have to walk your path alone. For now, take one more breath and let it be a blessing to yourself. I am safe enough to choose again. I am worthy of my own love. I am free to become who I truly am.